Hi, I'm Ross with Manhwa Narrate. This is the recap of the Manhwa Universal Raider. If you like this recap, then please like and subscribe. Thank you. The story begins in a world where everyone is forced to enter a mysterious space to play a game when they reach the age of 18 and become a challenger. When transported into this mysterious game space, they're obligated to play various types of survival games and become a victor under one life and death game umbrella, hide and seek. They will transform into various objects to avoid being hunted by the killers. Where would you hide? A pink book hurriedly jumped onto the bookshelf, intending to hide itself there. However, it seemed that someone had already taken refuge in this place and told it to hurry up and get lost. During their quarrel, the door was pushed open with a crackle and the killer entered, searching the room. After a while, the pink book noticed that the sound behind it had stopped, so it curiously turned around to check. Just as it turned its head, a kind face appeared right in front of it. Not long after, the sound of the system announcing its elimination came through. And just like that, others quickly got spotted and were eliminated. The elimination notification rang excessively, indicating numerous players' death. If you die in the realm of hide and seek, you vanish into thin air. In this world, death means disappearing forever from the world. The game is being broadcast live throughout the world as entertainment. The scene shifts and we see a young guy wakes up under a tree. He opened his eyes under his glasses in confusion. Turning his head from left to right and right to left, he questioned himself. Wasn't I at a crime scene? How did I get here? A golden system frame appeared welcoming challenger Sumu to the realm of hide and seek. And with that, he was transported from his initial hall, his exclusive hall of origin, where he will return every time he complete a quest or log into this realm, into a room surrounded by nothing but blueness. The system notified him that immediately after he is done here, he will join the others in the hide and seek waiting station. The system went through the mantra, educating Sumu about hide and seek. If they can survive successfully, not only will they gain superpowers and a large amount of money, they can even live forever or gain technology beyond human imagination. Full of confidence, Sumu brags about how a piece of cake this game will be. After all, he is a detective. Holding his tummy, he jokes about how his slim body can't even grow 8-pack abs. The system then told him to choose his desired appearance or to stick with his default appearance if he was satisfied with it. Without hesitation, Sumu chose to change. And with that, he made significant changes to his height, body structure, eyebrows, nose, hips, you name it. Changes were done. With immediate effect, his chosen appearance begun to take form, as the old form disappears. His attributes were displayed, showing his stats. His level was F, with physique, mind, strength being 7, 20, and 6 respectively. Both his unassigned points and agility were 6, and he had no skill or special equipment. His chosen name was M, and with that, the countdown begun. Staring at it, he fixed his jacket and mentally prepared himself. Our male protagonist, Sumu, was originally a top detective who was accidentally transported to this parallel world during a mission. At the waiting station, the people who had just survived the last game in the hall hadn't even caught their breath when they were forced to participate in the next game. The players were all alerted when the game initiated its starting process. However, this round was even more brutal as the experienced players were pitted against these rookies. Everyone panicked. They were informed how this round was structured. All of the players will be prey in this round. They can morph into anything chosen and hide for 2 hours in the challenge zone. Morphing into anything by a roulette for 1 hour and ensure you don't get eliminated once you are hit by the hunters. Besides that, players of the same party will be eliminated if they attack each other. In addition to this, there is a special challenge. The final winner of that special challenge will be rewarded remarkably. Next, they had 10 minutes to prepare. Sumu later realized that the roulette will be played by the system, and you will only find out what you morph into once you enter the challenge zone. Just as Sumu was drawing his initial roll, his golden system frame caught the attention of Xiaoyu nearby. Xiaoyu asked if he needed help, but Sumu replied that there was no need since he was done anyway. She then turned to walk away, cautioning him to be careful in the game. Sumu asked if Xiaoyu was a veteran. That's right. She stops answering him. Xiaoyu reminded him that this was not an ordinary hide-and-seek game, and sticking to the rules would only lead to elimination. This left him momentarily confused. Just as he was about to ask something else, he was teleported into the game. A guy asked why Xiaoyu was chatting with a newbie since she's never done that before. She replied with a smile that it was a secret. This time, the map was a combination of urban and rural areas, which should have been easy to hide in. However, Sumu found that he had turned into a huge cleaver that was several meters long. Looking at the confident people under his feet, he couldn't help but feel frustrated. Just then, he suddenly felt something climbing onto him. It turned out to be an advertisement made of cowhide transformed by a girl. Apparently, she had mistaken Sumu for a utility pole. The others also scattered to find advantageous positions for themselves. The system asked Sumu if he wished to fix his position. Doing that will ensure access to spectator mode, and he will be able to observe any part of the map. Curious, he chose yes. The system immediately prompted, "Congratulations on gaining access to spectator mode," as he body fades to nothing. He then found himself above the city, bird's eye view. Sumu checked what other benefits he has. He found that he has a berserk skill which can cause 30% damage boost upon activation and agility boost for 15 seconds. He smiled, knowing this cleaver has an offensive skill. Just then, the advertisement girl asked that shouldn't they hide somewhere else. Geez. The most dangerous place is always the safest, Sumu replied, confusing her. Time's up as Sumu alerts her to prepare. As the 10-minute hiding time came to an end, the killers officially arrived at the competition site. The man named Greedy Wolf used an item to increase the reward level by 10 times, making the game's difficulty skyrocket. Sumu asked the ad girl if she still wants to switch places. No way. I'd rather have someone to team up with. Really, you'd stick with me for the entire game. Yes, that's for sure. The system announced the beginning of a global live broadcast, and the star performer of this round will receive a mystery reward. Just as everyone was relieved that the killer's abilities were limited, a woman named Python shot an arrow directly into the sky. A man disguised as an outdoor air conditioning unit was eliminated as a result. The nearby flower pot was almost scared shitless. And just like that, others shown prior were eliminated by the killers just as easily as the outdoor air conditioner. The chat group suddenly exploded. In their eyes, the air conditioning guy was the most logical choice. Why was he the first to be eliminated? After some contemplation, Sumu warned in the chat group, "Pay attention to the dust under your feet." Only then did everyone realize that it was these tiny details that had exposed them. On the live broadcast screen, every hider began to pat the dust around them. The audiences were astonished, and many thought Sumu was a highly trained expert. However, the remaining players were not so lucky. One after another, the hiders were eliminated, and the number of survivors had dropped to 205. The tape guy and the cardboard box on the balcony desperately sought help in the chat group because the killers were about to search their floor. However, they only received mockery in return. Sumu looked at the two people, and a faint smile appeared at the corner of his mouth. It was time to increase the difficulty for the killers. After securing his position, and with his field of vision rapidly expanded with God's Eye View, Sumu was also confident with his berserk skill called Shadow Fury. At this moment, the tape guy, who was about to be discovered, was still desperately seeking help in the chat group. The killers were about to search the floor where they were hiding. Sumu then said in the chat group that he could save them. Tape guy saw that it was the same expert who had reminded everyone about the dust earlier and was instantly moved to tears. Even a pink wardrobe was willing to offer itself just to cling to him for help. Sumu continued to remind everyone to pay attention to the option of fixing objects. Just when the advertisement girl climbed onto him earlier, he noticed that the so-called fixing in this game was not a specific location. In other words, as long as they used a double jump in midair while pressing the fixing button, unexpected results would occur. The nearby cardboard box immediately started to give it a try and successfully fixed itself in midair. Seeing this, everyone in the room became excited. But where should they hide next? Sumu provided a hint. I don't know if you've noticed, but these killers have weapons and yet they don't fire a single shot. They have superpowers, but still use the stairs. So a bizarre scene appeared in the live broadcast. Various pieces of furniture and appliances were floating on the exterior walls of the building. Plus, it was now late at night and the darkness served as a natural barrier for them. The viewers of the live broadcast were all stunned. Just who exactly was this person with the codename M? In less than 10 minutes, they surprisingly found the hidden settings. When the hunters kicked open the door, they found nothing inside. The same was true when they searched the building. This was strange. They had clearly heard noises inside just moments ago. If they had just looked up, they would have seen a scene they would never forget in their lives. Audiences around the world all wanted to take a picture with this spectacle. At this moment, a girl asked Sumu if he wanted to cling to Mr. M's leg and win the game with him. Sumu refused, saying he was too big. That girl, still infatuated, didn't know that the real Mr. M was right beside her. At this point, the hunters, having found nothing, were cursing on the street below. They were carrying a broken rocket launcher that couldn't be used. What was going on? Greedy Wolf's expression was not good because he knew that the python could use a bow and arrow. As soon as the opposing team finished cleaning up the hiders in the rice field, his performance score would be surpassed. He couldn't just sit there and do nothing. So, with great pain, he took out another prop card, unlocking 40% of the hunter's abilities. Ever since their skills were unlocked, the hiders' days were numbered. They were bombarded by the hunters. The number of eliminations began to skyrocket, with only 150 survivors remaining. Soon, more than half of the game time had passed. Some hiders had already used their chance to change roles. In the chat group, there were desperate cries for help. Some people had turned into helicopters without fuel. Some had turned into small buildings. Now, even more desperate was the fact that someone had turned into a train and 8-carriage one at that. Sumu was also stunned. There were even more outrageous things than himself. He happened to see someone turn into a barrel of fuel, and a bold idea popped into his mind. So, he said in the chat group to have everyone find the helicopter and prepare for takeoff. The helicopter became anxious. I'm a helicopter, not a flying aircraft carrier. How can I carry a train and cars? Sumu leisurely replied, have you heard of the left foot stepping on the right foot spiraling into the sky? When the train and house double jump and get stuck in the sky, you fly under them and lock yourself in position. The house and train unlock and directly fall onto you. At that time, they will use your body as the ground again. With the double jump, they can jump to even higher places. Moreover, teammates cannot hurt each other, which ensures that you won't be crushed to death. The helicopter never thought that the rules could be used in this way. Isn't it just a super stepping stone for itself later? Soon, the hiders have gathered. The next scene left the audience dumbfounded. Various types of furniture and home appliances lined up in a screen, checking tickets and getting on board. They thought this group of people had given up treatment and were ready to deliver warmth together. At this moment, someone pointed at the screen and shouted, "Oh my goodness, look, what are they doing?" The helicopter was seen under the train while all other large items were hanging up. They actually slowly rose into the air by stacking themselves up like human pyramids. At the current speed, they would fly out of the range of the hunters in a few minutes. Unbeknownst to him, Xiaoyu, who was watching the live broadcast, had taken in all his actions. At this moment, the guy prior from the station came up behind her. Now I finally understand why you're interested in him. This rookie game is getting more and more interesting. Aren't these rookies full of excitement? Yeah, they have been toying with the veterans, making them wander around like headless chickens. They surely are entertaining to watch. The hunters who were still bombing the ground didn't even look up. There were only a few hiders left to be found, and a lot of gunpowder had been used. This was completely unscientific. Greedy Wolf hurriedly asked them to stop firing. The team members became anxious. "Captain, what should we do now?" Greedy Wolf sneered upon hearing this. "Isn't it easy? Just catch a hider and let them show us the way." The team members were still worried about whether this would violate the rules, as there had never been such a precedent before. However, Greedy Wolf had made up his mind. He had already paid so much today and would not give up easily. At this moment, Little Stone, who was hiding in the grass, quietly covered his mouth, praying that he wouldn't be discovered. But as soon as he looked up, he saw Greedy Wolf staring at him viciously. Under coercion and temptation, he decisively chose to betray the hiders. The audience watching the live broadcast began to curse. The guy again said, "Isn't this equivalent to giving the hunters full map vision?" The players in the meadow, "Yeah, I know, they're going to have a hard time." At this time, the hiders in the wheat field area suddenly found themselves marked. Before they could complain, Little Stone began to provoke them in the chat group. "I advise you to come out and die quickly. Maybe I can ask the hunters to leave you a complete corpse." His words almost infuriated the hiders, so they started to furiously argue with each other in the group chat. The advertising girl attached to Sumu also discovered the existence of the traitor. Now all she wanted was to find a good spot and wait for her inevitable death. But Sumu did not give up. He thought of Xiaoyu's reminder when he entered the game, and a bold idea suddenly appeared in his mind. He asked the advertising girl about the skill she had drawn. The advertising girl checked the system panel. Invisibility for 10 seconds. 3 times. Plus 3 defenses. Why do you ask? Hearing the advertising girl's answer, Sumu's smile grew even wider. Since Little Stone had already become a traitor, he had completely given up struggling. He marked everyone in the sky, and the hunters were all dumbfounded when they saw this. If I had known, I wouldn't have worn this stupid hat, they said, casting a glance at Greedy Wolf. Greedy Wolf ignored them, picked up the rocket launcher, and aimed at the sky. With a loud bang, the entire sky suddenly lit up like daylight. This caught the attention of the python in the wheat field area, who also attacked the people in the sky. However, the hiders' altitude had already exceeded the range of their weapons, and they were still hanging in the air unharmed. Seeing this, the helicopter also began to send friendly greetings to the hunters' families. Although the python was extremely irritated, there was nothing she could do, so she led her team members to prepare to go to the city area. At this moment, Greedy Wolf, with a bewildered face, was about to bite his back teeth to pieces, veins popping out on his neck like he was struggling to breathe. He grabbed Little Stone and demanded an explanation for why everyone was stuck in the sky. Otherwise, he threatened to swallow him and turn him into a stone in a pit. Little Stone did not want to become feces and became anxious immediately. With a snotty nose and tears, he told everything about Sumu. After hearing this, Greedy Wolf threw Little Stone to one of his teammates. Then he led his team members to the wheat field area, preparing to harvest the others who had already been marked. All of this was within Sumu's plan. He had been waiting for a long time. The advertising girl on his body was still a little scared because their opponents were all A-class masters, but Sumu's actions gave her the answer. He slowly squatted down as if brewing something. With a bang, a huge machete several meters long shot up into the sky like a rocket. The advertising girl also activated her invisibility skill immediately. With their cooperation, they both became invisible, secretly observing Greedy Wolf and his team members who had just entered the wheat field area. The altitude was appropriate, and the enemy had entered the strike range. Next up is the hunting moment, with a swing of the chopping knife in hand. Just when he was still negotiating with the Greedy Wolf, asking him to kill more of the hiding players later, he disappeared directly from the original spot in the next second. The Greedy Wolf was so scared that he stayed where he was until his teammates called him back, and he turned around to see that the building behind him had been split in half. The system's kill prompt also sounded in everyone's ears. There are currently 10 remaining pursuers. At this moment, the hunters, who felt extremely safe just moments ago, realized that they had become prey. The situation in the entire arena had completely reversed. The audience in front of the screen cheered. They hadn't seen such a powerful newcomer in a long time. The helicopter was in complete and utter disbelief as he stared from above. It was only then that the advertising girl realized that the master she had been thinking about was by her side all along. Xiaoyu, who was still watching the live broadcast, was interested in watching the scene, while the guy beside her holds his tummy, laughing uncontrollably from ear to ear. The hunters still didn't know his exact location. As an A-level veteran player, the Greedy Wolf thought it was a game to beat up weak players, but now he was hiding in the building, feeling aggrieved and afraid to go out. Find him quickly. Who was on the other side? After a brief inspection with a god's eye view, Stone didn't find Sumu. The person on the other side was most likely a master. The Greedy Wolf grabbed him and said, "Only a spatial expert could kill 2 hunters. You'd better not lie to me." Then he immediately ordered his teammates to call the python over, because he realized that if Sumu wasn't eliminated, they would all die. At this moment, Sumu, facing the advertising girl's compliments, had already started pretending. "Oh, I wanted to get along with you as an ordinary person, but my strength doesn't allow it. By the way, now I have become their target. Are you afraid to follow me? Of course not. We're allies. Besides, I can't abandon my teammates." The advertising girl replied, which satisfied Sumu. All the hunters in the building had already gathered. The game was about to end in 30 minutes, so they had to take action immediately. Therefore, the greedy wolf planned to team up with the python. They would go out to attract attention while the python lurked in the shadows. As long as Sumu dared to take action again, they could directly determine his position and kill him. However, the python didn't want to help him, as she was already far ahead in points. Why risk her teammates' safety? But the greedy wolf's next words made her unable to refuse. You participated in this game for that special reward, right? As long as you follow my plan and kill him, you'll have 1 minute of priority over the hiding players in the sky. The python smiled at his words. Deal. According to the plan, she would first shoot a glowing arrow as a signal and illumination. Once the greedy wolf and his team received it, they would immediately charge into the wheat field area and kill Sumu. However, all their plans were heard by the hiding players with God's eye view. Everyone in the sky urged Sumu not to take action and just wait until the time was up. Sumu told them not to worry and typed in the chat group, asking Stone, the traitor, to tell the hunters to hurry up. He couldn't wait any longer. As a glowing arrow was shot into the sky, the hunters started to move. The greedy wolf's face was full of cruel laughter. Now he knew that if Im didn't take action, he would quickly clear everyone inside the wheat field area once they entered. At this moment, the hunters saw Sumu really appear and the greedy wolf's face showed a cruel smile. You're Im, aren't you going to charge at me? Do you think you still have a chance? But while they were talking, the python, who was hiding on the rooftop, shot a deadly arrow at him, only to pierce through his body and make him gradually disappear in front of everyone. The hunters were stunned. What happened? How could there be such a skill in the game? He must be hiding in the wheat field. Find him. As soon as he finished speaking, the greedy wolf felt a chill hit him from behind. Quickly, he instinctively dodged. Using his years of muscle memory and sword skills, the greedy wolf narrowly avoided the attack, but his teammates weren't so lucky. With a flash of the blade, the entire husky team was wiped out, leaving only the greedy wolf. At this moment, Sumu slowly emerged from the dust and smoke with a large machete in hand. Even at this point, you still have the nerve to be distracted, but your reaction time is pretty fast. The greedy wolf saw that Sumu was still trying to act cool in front of him and lifted a rocket launcher to fire. Those watching the live broadcast thought Sumu had some kind of plan for not running away, but the explosion from the rocket shattered their illusions. Looks like this kid's trying too hard to show off, he said. He forgot that the other guy is an A-level hunter, but Xiaoyu had a relaxed expression when she heard this. Oh, that's not necessarily true. At this time, the greedy wolf, like everyone else, thought he had successfully dealt with Sumu, but the next moment, a flurry of blade energy rushed towards him from the smoke and exploded in front of him. The husky team had been taken care of by Sumu, and the advertising girl's defense was down to her last chance. After showing off, Sumu ran into an alleyway, where the complex terrain made it impossible for the python on the rooftop to take aim at him. Her only option was to have her teammates chase after Sumu and lead him to a more advantageous position before killing him. Little did she know that everything was going according to Sumu's plan. The python had been lurking in the shadows the whole time, and Sumu had gone into the alleyway to force her to change her shooting position and reveal herself. As expected, the python fired several arrows at him from above, but the hit rate was greatly reduced due to the obstacles. What do you want to do now, python? Sumu opened the chat window and typed, train, plane, do you guys trust me? Whatever you say, big shot. We'll do it, they replied. Okay, drop down from my location right now. Be careful not to fall to your death. Got it. The python had finally circled around to Sumu's front and aimed her bow at him. As a novice, you've done pretty well. Game over.